everybody. Next up, we've got Damon DesChamp. He's with Trailer Made Trailers, and he's also with Tiny House Experts. I'm gonna bring him on right now as the co-host. Once he's co-host, he should be able to share his screen and or share his camera and his mic. And if he wants to share his screen, he can too. So, Damon, go ahead and pop on your. There you are. How's it going, Damon?
It's good. How are you?
Doing well, doing well. It's actually a beautiful day up here in the Pacific Northwest. We've got a lot of sunshine, which is amazing. And you're the final VIP session of the entire event, so
That's
super
exciting.
excited for it. Yeah, yeah, always
How's
excited.
my audio? I got stuck here at the 11th hour having to use my earbuds as a mic. Is that okay? Can you hear me all
Yep,
right?
we can hear you just fine. Yep, it's great.
Okay, great. I'm going to head out to the plant floor. That's where things might get just a little dicey. And then I'm going to hand the mic, the camera over to Natalie, and she's going to follow me around and we'll do kind of a first person view podcast and we'll get into it.
Sounds like a plan. All right, well, that sounds good. And I'm gonna go ahead and disappear now and let you roll with it.
Wonderful. Thanks so much. Talk soon,
Yep.
Zach. Okay, guys, I'm going to flip this around really quick. And if you give me about 2 seconds here, I'm going to hand the phone off to Natalie. We're having to do this all with telephone here now. So she's going to follow me around like this. So this is what we're dealing with. Today, I'm going to take you on a bit of a history lesson, if you will. So um, that sounds funny for maybe somebody who's tuned in to listen to DIY tiny house information or advice, but it'll all make sense in a minute. So if we want to, let's go get started and we'll go on a little walk back through time about 100 years ago. So back in the 1920s and 1930s, there was the Sears and Roebuck catalogs, as some of us old folks remember, and the the section in the catalog I remember as a young kid in my grandparents' house was a Craftsman kit home, and it was literally where somebody could order a house in pieces, all done, all engineered and blueprinted, ready to go, code ready, so the cities would let you build it on your property, and literally a flatbed truck would come and dump this off on your land, and you're off to the races. Is like the ultimate DIY project. And 40 years on, that still resonates with me and my wife today, and our company. So the Tiny House Experts, bit of a reintroduction. Many of you know who we are as Trailer Made Custom Trailers. We've been the standard foundation for this industry for over a decade. Thousands and thousands of tiny homes in North America and around the world sit on our foundations for lots and lots of good reasons. But today I'm going to take you back from those 1930s, fast forward almost a full century to what a 21st century Craftsman kit house looks like from the Tiny House Experts. So right off the gate, we're standing here in the area where we build framing. If you want to zoom over to that really quick, what this is a house, and this is another house, and all of these six have a location, number, and letter coordinated with their location on a drawing. So it's kind of like a symbol by number. All of this has been engineered for you. Once you submit your design to us, we build it on our CNC machine, which we'll walk through here. Now, let's go take a quick walk and take a look at the CNC machine that makes all the magic happen. So back here in the back, there's a big giant coil of steel, sheet metal, a ribbon, light gauge steel, cold form steel. There's a lot of names for it. But this thing turns the coil of steel into this machine, and then that bends it into the sticks that you saw over there on those shelves, which then turn it into those houses you see at the other end of the factory, which we're going to start walking our way over next. So you kind of see the process. So we build a frame with CNC technology, all AutoCAD designed, engineered, code approved ready. It can be on or off wheels. Obviously, since we are trailer made custom trailers, we prefer things on wheels whenever we can. And some of you haven't even been to our shop before and don't know the whole process behind our foundations and the trailers. All of the steel comes in 40-foot lengths and gets cut to fit each project separately so that your trailer is one of one. The next one next to it is one of one. Everybody gets the exact same custom interpersonal treatment with our products. So we have 2 or 3 guys that work really hard to make sure all of this stuff is cut very, very accurately, and then eventually turned into one of these works of art, which is our tiny house foundation. 16 inches on center, always has been, always will be. So that's very easily translatable for those in the construction world. Our cross members are essentially your floor joists. There's no need to put a wasteful piece of subfloor, built in here, 2x6s, 2x8s, and then stack it all up and then lose that headroom in the loft. At the same time, you get a closer attachment between the foundation and the bottom plate of the wall. It's a more secure attachment and tighter thermally for moisture and people who have built before. This translates very, very easily. Basically do this the same way you would do a slab house with a concrete pad with J-bolts sticking up around the edges. And not to go into a ton of detail about how to build on top of the trailer. We've covered that very, very extensively in our YouTube videos on our YouTube channel at the Tiny House Experts. If you haven't already subscribed, please do. We have a lot of tips and tricks, how-tos, the shorts, the 30 and 60-second videos that just kind of talk about the differences. Say something as simple as, what's a deck over trailer versus a fender trailer? What are those two? What are those differences? Oh, so the great question. Theoretically, the question is, can the frames be aluminum to save weight? Yes, but no. Yes, in that you could achieve an aluminum trailer designed to do the same thing as our steel design does. And this is all tube steel, structural, grade A, engineered, stamped for a foundation for a house. In order to do that with aluminum, it adds about 40% of the cost. So it's quite a bit more expensive. And it's kind of like the law of diminishing returns. It's only going to net us about 10 or 15% net weight savings for that nearly 40% increase in the steel costs or aluminum costs over steel. And in this application, I have considerable question about longevity of aluminum. That's a metal that fatigues easily. It likes to fracture, and it can potentially fail a little sooner than steel, in my opinion. So while doable, not necessarily advisable for those reasons that I listed earlier. But great question. Thank you so much for asking. Okay, so back to kind of the world tour here. The Tiny House Experts have always pushed the envelope in terms of traditional building methods with advanced technology. We are steel people here. We like steel. We like metal. Wood is a substrate that's not our first choice all the time, but we do wood structures. On the outside, we just put them over steel bones, which I'll show you here. 24 inches. 2x4s most commonly. Wall sticks. Is that what the question was? Okay, so the size of the wall framing is nominal 2x4 or 3 5/8. It's 20 gauge, 53 KSI. That's 53,000 PSI tensile strength steel. Big benefit, which was in our last DIY forum. Difference between steel and wood. A lot of people think wood is a thermally tighter envelope when you stand it up and you build it, and that's just not the case because a wood 2x4 is not hollow versus a steel 2x4, which is like a C channel, and you can spray foam insulate the inside of those and get nearly a full 16-inch cavity fill of insulation every 16 inches if that's how you frame the wall. And the other question on the deck over or the bumper pole deck height. Somebody had asked a few moments ago, what's the deck height of our bumper pole trailer? That's about 24 inches. It'll settle an inch or so when you put your house on it. We say between 23 and 23 and a half when it's at the middle of its suspension stroke. Any other questions? Awesome. Does my audio feel good? Something just happened to this. Zach, are you there? Can you hear me?
Yep, we still got you.
Okay, very good. I just said something happened to one of my headphones. I thought I lost audio. Okay, sorry for the interruption, guys. Not to interrupt anybody while they're in the middle of working, but if we want to look down here really quick, excuse me, sir, can I borrow your project for a moment? I'm going to stand in front of Quentin while he's trying to work for about 30 seconds here and kind of show you what we were talking about in the middle of the day. So this is an assembled frame kit. And like we saw over there on the other side of the plant, everything's on a shelf and ready to go. That's bi-panel or wall. In this case, roof has panels. There's 3 or 4 panels in there. And if you can just kind of zoom in and do a quick once around on that. Yep. So one of the guys over my head is telling me that this roof line has actually because this is a 10 by 40. This is pretty much our most common size these days. To keep it manageable, we broke those up into 10-foot panels. So there's 4 10-foot by about 12-foot panels that go up on the roof after the walls are stood. Um, but all of this is kind of paint by number so that anybody that can pull the trigger on a screw gun and read the letters A through Z on a drawing can figure out knee bone to hip bone to backbone, and next thing you know, you got a tiny house standing out of it. Is it pretty cool stuff? We've turned a lot of wood framers into die-hard steel framers in this shop. So I could kind of be a little messy through here, but we're doing the thing. This is what we do every day for a living. So it doesn't ever slow down for us. If Natalie is so bold as to follow me up into the inside of this one, you want to just get a quick view of the outside of this. Again, this is a 400-foot model, and we're about 75% of the way to the finish line on this beauty. But this is actually a hybrid chassis where this is going to stay on the foundation when it gets to the site. This is the trailer that's going to come back and be repurposed. So this is a one-piece deck over trailer until you unbolt these 2 pieces, which you can kind of see right under here. If you can see this bolt right here, and there's a few more, and then there's a handful up front. But you undo these guys with an impact gun, and then this trailer comes off, and then this is just a house. It's no longer a tiny house. Zach, are we there?
Yeah, you're back now. We lost you for a moment, but we see inside the tiny home now.
There's some light. Okay. So if you want to come back and kind of see one of the things that we get asked the most about our kits, or what's the no come on in, stand up height in a downstairs bedroom. We had a guy in here that was 6'8" yesterday, and there was still 3 or 4 inches of space between this ceiling and his head, and he was almost 7 feet tall. So this is about 7'2" in. You got a 6'8" door with a 7-foot ceiling. There's a question. 34 inches will be the ride height or the step in height when it's all settled. That's the standard. The question was, what's the standard deck over height? That's 34 inches. And should I move? Go that way? All right, I'll stay here for a minute. So what's the standard height of the deck over trailer? It's just under 3 feet, it's 34 inches settled into the suspension stroke. Unloaded, it's about 35.5 inches. So this model, for example, back to our DIY kit and how they work. This is a 2-bedroom. It's got a loft over the top of us and a master down here with a 3-piece bathroom. This is the ski chalet. So it's meant for families to come vacation. We have a shower room. We have a potty toilet room. And right here we have a vanity sink sort of combo. So kind of an assembly line sort of bathroom situation so people can get up and get out to the ski lifts bright and early. Upstairs to the loft there, pocket doors that keep space to a minimum. Barn doors are great too. That's an option. Those are inexpensive and pretty easy to hang, so a lot of people can use those in lieu of. This has a 3-zone mini split. This is 400 square feet. So it's got a handler in the bathroom. It's got a handler here in the living room. And then there's another air handler with an auxiliary heater up in the loft. This is going to get a deck around the back side of it. That's why it has 2 sliding doors. One of the things I get asked all the time, do you put drywall in these? If you haven't noticed walking around inside here, yes, we absolutely put drywall in these and finish it, tape it, mud it, and paint it. This is steel framing. It doesn't move. It doesn't flex. It doesn't twist. It doesn't cause damage to drywall the same way old school lumber framing does. So these are much better if you're going to want to drywall this. And this is more of a permanent set unit. You don't want to take this thing up and down the road 60 or 70 times a year. It's not meant for that type of use. This is a park model, which means you park it and set it and forget it. And so you've seen kind of like each phase of progress. What's wrong? Is there a question? Oh, okay. So we're going to walk out to the construction area next. We'll go out to the other warehouse and kind of show you guys another phase of what these things look like in the process. And if you have questions that I'm not able to see or answer right now because of the format that we're running on here, I apologize. But it's 4'9" on top. Yeah, 4'8" or 4'9". I can't remember where we measured it to at the peak. But it's over 4 feet, 4.5 feet. Now, that's a bit of a loaded answer. How tall is the house? Should have been the question. That question came next. All right. So this is Colorado. Here and west of here, 13'6" is not the hard and fast rule for things necessarily. So you have permitted and unpermitted loads. And we've covered this on our podcast, and we've also covered this here on tinyhouse.com. If you're 10 feet wide, it's already a permitted load. If you are under 14 foot 6 inches in the state of Colorado, you don't need to permit it for being over height. If you are already permitted for the over width, for example, a 10-foot wide trailer, then you are by default already permitted for that 14.5-foot height as well. So 13'6" is, DOT rule back and forth, and that's how semis and commercial cargo move. And that's a good rule of thumb to adhere to if you are going to travel a lot. Realistically, out of more than 9,500 tiny homes that we've seen start life in this place, less than 1,000 of them move, I would say. Natalie's behind the camera agreeing with me. So really less than 10% move as intended. So if you do some soul searching and you decide that, I'm probably not going to move this thing from coast to coast every winter and every summer, good. You're in the majority, and that's okay. Nobody's going to hold that against you. But also take into consideration to not try and build a vehicle that's highly mobile, very lightweight, nimble, agile, tows easily, if that's not your intention to use it that way. If you're going to park it and set it like these guys all do, then go big or go home, right? So 10 foot wide is the new 8x20, and 40 foot is the new 8x28. And 400 square feet lets you do ANSI park models. It lets you do, you can still be into most RV park communities. It's not that terrible to tow a 10 foot wide. We do it all the time. It's $30 for the permit here in Colorado, and that covers you up to 16 feet high and 12 feet wide here in this state. And it's similar in most other states all around the U.S. So I hope that answers all of the questions about like size of trailer, height of trailer, because I know those questions always come next. I was just trying to jump in ahead of them a little bit. So well, let's go out to the tent and see some more cool stuff. Here at Trailer Made, we actually do all of our own paint work. We put an epoxy 2-part primer on all bare metal that we prep after we've fabricated a project. And the second part is a catalyzed urethane top coat made by Henson Coatings. And those guys are actually the world's largest military coating supplier to governments globally. So our paint is technically military grade finish, I guess. And it's really great stuff. I know that. So we've done that for years and years, and we do that all in house. And it has really stood the test of time. You know, we've been impressed. Once we went to that company, it's been what, 8 or 9 years ago. It doesn't matter if you're on the East Coast, West Coast, the Northeast, the Southeast, Hawaii, Alaska. These things really do hold up incredibly well against corrosion and rust and things like that. So we're going to jump in. These guys just got done framing this. They actually started it yesterday afternoon after lunch, and they were done here before 4 o'clock. This is what a typical kit would look like. This is actually a typical size of a kit for many DIYers. This is a mobile size version, and it's Freddie 8x24. This is an 8x24. This is going to be a mobile classroom going out to Washington, D.C. Here's a little bathroom unit here in the corner, and this will be the classroom area. And then there's 2 egress doors. There's one in and one out for safety and that sort of thing. But Natalie, if you can come in and kind of show the audience the side of the sticks, there'll be a drawing of the back wall, and you'll see, look for stick K on exterior wall 4, and you'll kind of assemble this whole thing by number flat on the ground into a panel that you and a friend will stand up vertically. You'll rack it into plumb or straight vertically, use a couple of braces to hold that in place, and then bring in your next wall to that and square the two, and then you're off to the races. You just throw a couple of jack braces up, and it's really self-squaring and self-centering after that. You can't get it wrong because there's only one way that this will go together. And around all the edges on the insides and the outsides, you get things that line up perfectly. You can't really mess it up. Like if you look at the daylight in the corner going up the joints, if you see it growing from bottom to top, if it goes like this, then you know your walls aren't straight up and down. But if it's a nice straight line all the way up and down and you can see it clearly, you know you're probably really doggone close to being plumb square and level. And we tried to build this design so that anybody can assemble it and have the same outcome. So whether it's a pro builder or a first-time complete novice DIYer, anybody can get this thing to the same tolerances that we can. And compared to construction tolerances and allowances, we hold about a 20 to 25 thousandth of 1 inch tolerance on all of these. So they're less than a 64th of an inch out of square whenever it's rolled on the CNC machinery. And when we put it all together, we try to hold it all to about a 32nd of an inch. So way more accurate building. Everything is very, very straight. There's no twisted lumber. There's nothing that's going to get thrown into the scrap pile after we're done building this. And it's all sitting over an insulated subfloor. So for you DIYers out there asking how to deal with moisture, this has been a big boogeyman out there for people who don't necessarily follow all of the steps. And one of the things is I'm getting condensation between my trailer and my subfloor. Very simple way to fix that. Put a moisture barrier between your trailer and your subfloor. This is what you have to do. This is called Sill Seal. It's a little pink foam product made by Owens Corning, and several others too. But this goes down over a concrete pad, but it's meant to knock air and water out of from below the bottom plate of the wall. We put it here because it keeps this from soaking up any condensation or sweating or moisture that might come off the steel with the climate differential. So if you're here in Colorado and it's very cold and very dry, and we ship this down to San Diego or Maui, Hawaii, and it's very hot and very humid, this trailer is going to sweat somewhere if we're not careful and we haven't paid attention to where it can sweat. So this is something that we want to make sure everybody does. We've done this since day one. But lots of DIYers out there are maybe skipping that step and finding something that's not going their way. So next step after that would be to tape over that with some sort of flashing tape to get the moisture, further away from that joint. And then once we sheathe it, we actually build a specific custom flashing panel. So there's drip edge flashing that comes down and also goes back up and underneath the trailer. So it completely blocks off any water from ever getting up underneath your subfloor or underneath the wall. And not everybody does that. That's kind of a big important step. So if you have questions about that and you want to do that on your own project, make sure you give us a call here at the Tiny House Experts. What? That's Owens Corning Sill Seal. And we use several different widths of it. There's 8-inch, 4-inch, 6-inch. We lay it across all of the top members. We glue it down with like a little contact adhesive. In fact, here, I'll show you. Perfect example right here. High strength 90 contact adhesive. You spray this down across all the top of the steel. You give it about 30 seconds to let it flash. And give me one more second here. And then you're going to roll this down on top of it. And you can buy it in the wider width and just slit it down the middle and kind of double your money, so to speak, because this is only about $1.50 a roll more than the stuff that's already this wide. So we typically buy the wider rolls and then cut them down to fit. Like you've only got a 2-inch wide floor joist, so you don't need this much. But we do have a 6-inch sill plate all the way around the perimeter of the trailer. So that's what we use for this and up and over the fenders. But any kind of a contact adhesive, spray it down, then lay this down over it. And then you can see all the way around the house, we've got that gasket between the metal and the bottom of the house. So with that, next thing we want to talk about is a little bit about how we do picking and pulling and things for kits. Say again. You're welcome. Oh, thank you, Tamara. People ask us all the time, what do you guys build your walls with? What do you put on your walls? What should I put on mine? The answer is depends. And I'm not talking about the undergarment, really bad joke. I'm talking about it depends on what your application is. So let's go over here to the piles of stuff that we do use and kind of work through left to right a little bit here. Good old-fashioned OSB. Just about everybody in the DIY world knows what this stuff is. This is your budget brand. This is your CDX quality, sub $20 a sheet, low performance, just kind of meet code and get on to the next thing sort of sheeting that we would put on. And we do that on some of these units if they are for that particular application. We're doing some right now that are storage units. So this is fine for that client. They don't need to be super high performance wall systems. So you can get this $15, $20 a sheet, usually at your big box or local hardware stores. I think we sell it for just a little bit less than that. Next thing up, we get asked this question, so I'm going to pop this in here. What do we use for our subfloor system? What we use is Zip System brand Advantech subflooring. So Huber Wood Products is the manufacturer of this, and it is kind of like OSB, but on a lot of steroids. This is bonded and put together with 2-part Gorilla Glue epoxy. So it's really, really, really dense and durable OSB. We've used this on our trailer floors since 2014, 15? Yeah, 2015, without fail. This is hands down the best performance product we've had on a floor ever. So we strongly encourage this stuff. We don't make a commission hire or anything like that. It's just we know this stuff really works well. It's expensive, but it's worth it. It's what, 85, $90 a sheet, and that's not even installed yet. So, but you're only talking about a handful of sheets to put down your whole house worth. And this is the best subfloor system, in my opinion, that money can buy in this application. We use it religiously. There's nothing else that we really put down on subfloors. But talking about the next piece of product out of the same stable of manufacturing, which would be zipboard. Lots and lots and lots of tiny houses know about this stuff. This is almost synonymous with the tiny house industry, it feels like. Zip panel, Huber Wood Products. This is 1/2 inch. The green is kind of like your Tyvek wrap in theory. It's laid out so you can put your nail holes where you want to. The edges tell you where to hit, so you get the nail schedule correct. 6 on the perimeter and 8 in the field. Is there a question or some? Yeah, thanks, Craig. The other part is it worth it? That's everybody knows it, but I get asked a lot, is that a good product? I won't tell you it's a bad product. I can't do that because it does have a good application where it's best used. But I will tell you that I have other preferences in a lot of applications. This stuff is pretty heavy. It's pretty expensive. And when you shoot it full of nail holes, to me, it kind of seems to penetrate or permeate this membrane that's already on the outside of it. So for less money, you can get similar performance, I believe, with good old fashioned OSB, and a Tyvek exterior moisture barrier wrap. But I do know that this is tried and true. You nail it up, you tape it shut, and it's a very easy, reliable system. Like I said, I'm not talking bad about it. I recommend it on a case by case basis. So depending on how you're going to build or how you want us to build, will determine whether or not we want you to use that stuff. This is the wall or the vertical version. You can't put that on a roof. It's too thin. And sorry, I walked around behind the camera person there, Natalie. Sorry. This is the 5/8 version. So this is what you'd put up if you're doing, say, 24-inch advanced framing or on a roof, especially if we're going to put a rooftop deck. I know I get that request a lot. This roof behind us has got a pretty light pitch. Oh, there's a question. We don't. We nail it. We actually use a pin. Is there more to the question? Yeah, the question is, what screws do we use to attach it to the metal framing? And the answer is, I don't use screws to attach it to the metal framing. We actually use a wood to steel attachment pin, aka nail. We use a special nail. Let me walk you over here and I'll show you that. In fact, gentlemen, can I interrupt for just 1 second? I have somebody online who wanted to see what kind of nail we use, and I'm happy to show. So this is DeWalt guns. So I'm not. Yeah, there we go. Thank you. So if you get in here, you can kind of see this is a rifled pin. It's about 1.25 inches long, and that's a ballistic tip. So that's a hardened steel tip that pierces the steel. It doesn't tear it and blow it open. So it's like a pierced earlobe. When the nail goes in, the steel cold welds and squeezes around that. This twists it in at a high rate of speed. You hit it with about what are you guys running? About 95, 100 PSI? Yeah. And that's what we attach the system. So 15-degree coil fed cider roofer gun with a special nail is how to hang stuff off of this. That's been a big burning question for a lot of people for a long time. And I just happen to be out here today with that system right here at our hand so you guys can see it. So I hope that answers your question. If you have a need for that pin or that nail, let me know. I can get you that part number and tell you where to buy those and that sort of thing. Same with the interior. The question was, how about the interior? So steel framing is becoming more and more and more mainstream because wood is just simply not sustainable. And steel is becoming much, much more the preference for not just commercial construction, but more and more residential construction because of fire, insurance, lumber industry sustainability issues, name it. So the breadth of attachment systems that are available for steel is quickly gaining traction and becoming just about like wood. So there's types of nails or pins that you could use for interior. There's T-pins, there's finish nails, brad nails. If you want to do backers against the steel to be able to screw cabinets or things too, if that's your preference, you can do that. You can do that with as little as 3/8 ply and screw that up to the joints in the kitchen, and then you've got your backer for whatever you want to hang off of it that way. Hope that answers that question. The one other material we didn't show, it's over here. Sorry. The last one this is actually one of my preferred materials. People say, what do you hang on your walls? Oh, this isn't it. This is just the insulation. But this isn't. I have to find another sheet somewhere. Oh, are they back there? Okay, we'll walk over there in a second. So this is just good old fashioned polyiso rigid foam board with a radiant heat barrier on the back. We put that up inside the headers because this is an I-beam made out of sheet metal that goes all the way across this window set. So we have to insulate that so both faces are not this giant vent over each 4 or 5 foot window. And that's one of the challenges with wood framing, is that you can't insulate the headers over the doorways and over the windows. They're just a couple of pieces of wood that are R3, R5, just venting off energy like crazy. So we put about R12 on the front and R12 on the back. So those headers are R24, R25, somewhere in that neighborhood. The stuff that Natalie had to help me locate out here was, I do see it. Oh, there's a piece over there. It's easier to get to. This is an Ox Engineering product. I'm trying to find a piece with the logo on it so people can recognize it if they want to go research it afterwards. SI Strong. So this is structural insulated sheathing. I know that sounds weird. You nail it up. You'd use the nail schedule that they say. If you can kind of see underneath this silver. So we have this backer board and then a radiant heat barrier, R3 polyiso, and then our Tyvek moisture wrap. So this is a one and done board made in America. It's about 40-ish bucks a sheet, but it gives you R3 on the faces of all of your studs. So for California, title, what is it? Title, I can't remember. Pop up in the comments. I think is it Title 12, the building code for steel structures out in California. You have to have a thermal break of R3. This qualifies if we put it right over the face of the studs and backfill everything with spray foam insulation. That gives you an R25 wall system, but only a 2x4 width. So this is why I really like this product. This turns our really, really great wall system into like the Ferrari of wall systems. What's that? And it's incredibly light. Yeah, like if you see this is one hand, one person, kind of stick it up and nail it up there if you want to. You can cut it with a box knife or a utility knife or a fine cut rotary saw blade, zip saw, several different things. Here's a trailer. We get this question a lot too. What do you guys do for the floor? So, yeah, how handy. Oh, look at that. Here's an insulated trailer for you to look at. So we fill request. If it's going somewhere where it isn't cold, we don't really need to put more than 4 or 5 inches in, because after that, the law of diminishing returns kind of takes over on the spray foam install. After up to 4.5 inches, it's R7 per inch. So after your R28, if you add another inch, you don't get R35, and it falls off pretty sharply after that. That's why you don't ever see somebody with, 2 feet cavity foam thick. They'll be common. So up to about 5.5 to 6 inches spray foam, close to spray foam performs. After that, it kind of falls. It doesn't give you at a return 1-to-1 ratio. So it's definitely something to use in moderation. So all of our floors are between 5 and 7 and 8 inches deep. We put 5 to 6 inches of fill in between the cavities. And if I can't, Oh, do we? Oh, we fill up the spray foam. Can everybody see me now? I hope. Natalie said we're getting too far away from our Wi-Fi, but we'll start heading back into the other side of the plant. The spray foam, with the cross members laid out the way they are, we'll actually go back up and look at a trailer here together, so I can kind of, now that people have seen how we spray foam the belly, there is a galvanized belly pan on the bottom of that. On top of that, you shoot your subfloor right to the steel of the trailer. And what that looks like up here, I'll show you the specific layout of the tubing is how we prevent our thermal bridging issues that other trailer manufacturers have always fought. It's getting near the end of the day on Friday, guys, so tiny house experts are starting to clump up everywhere. I had a boss that used to tell me I could throw one hand grenade into the shop and take out my whole team in one fell swoop because they were all too close together. So, kind of back on this spray foam thing for a second. I got 3 inches as a gap between the bottom of the trailer and the top of the stringers that run front to back on the trailer. And then on top of the stringer to the top of the trailer where the subfloor sits is another 3 inches. So there's 6 inches in there. And basically, can you see in here where we're going to spray foam this all shut up and over that cross member and across. And then that is going to come under here 3 inches deep and put R21 of insulation underneath this one and over this one, everywhere front to back on the trailer. So the only places where there's ever a potential for any thermal transfer is right here, this little 2x2 square where this tube is welded to this tube. So this 2x2 square where those two meet still has 6 full inches of dead air space insulation between the temperature differentials of inside the house and underneath the trailer. So we vetted this 100 different ways from yesterday to make sure that you guys don't have rotten floors in 5 to 10 years from sweating members of steel going into your subfloor, plus those other couple little things, the sill seal, how we put the spray foam insulation in, how if you're going to do rigid foam or something like that, make sure you're going under the cross members and over the stringers, tape up the gaps, and you'll get similar performance just at a lower R value. I think most of the other substrates are R5 per inch. We use closed cell foam because it's 7 an inch plus. We do that in-house, so all of our barrels over there are full of the part A and part B for the spray foam stuff. Another thing was, what kind of foam do we use? We get that a lot. What kind of spray foam? I'm hypoallergenic or I'm toxicity sensitive. The stuff that we use is by a company called Natural Polymers. It is sugar beet starch in isopropyl alcohol based. It off gases in about 30 minutes. We let the things vapor, kind of off gas for anywhere from 8 to 24 hours, depending on the size of them and how many times we have to go in and spray foam, if it's just the floor or if it's the walls and everything else. So do the same thing. You can check if you have a local spray foam company do work for you. Ask them what brand of foam they spray, because that is important. They're not all created equal. There's inexpensive stuff, and then there's relatively safe stuff that is not inexpensive. So ask for it by name. Natural Polymers. That's a great company. Let's see. What else? I don't know what else to talk about for the DIYers. Anybody have any questions while we're standing here on the plant floor that I haven't already asked or answered, rather? Nope, everybody fell asleep at the wheel. That's terrible. That's all right. Thank you, Tamara. You're awesome too. So let's see. I'll give you a kind of a rundown here of what the process would look like for a do-it-yourselfer. You'd call us here at the tiny house headquarters at TrailerMade. You would probably talk to myself or Natalie or Joe, potentially our designer. Tom is our sales manager. We'll get an idea of what kind of project you want to build. We'll make sure that you have. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm trying to think of where I should pick back up. Okay, so we use closed cell spray foam. Go ahead. You bet. Paul, let's talk off camera, buddy. I'm happy to talk with you as long as you'd like. Um, but to answer the question about the spray foam R value, we use closed cell spray foam because it's R 7.2 per inch. Um, and that's good up to about 4.5 inches. Above 4.5 inches, you're no longer getting another 7.2 points of R value for every inch you add on to that. Okay. Does that answer the question? Perfect. Um, so a kit, the way those get, if you have a design, you'll submit that to us. We'll give you a rough estimate. And then once you have placed your order for your kit, we go into the design phase. We start tweaking and tuning and, dialing in all the fine details to make it your project. The cool thing about our system is we have 7 or 8 different shapes of box that we can twist and modify and stretch and pull to make it your custom design any way you want out of that machinery sitting over there. Um, so it's sort of custom, but not really. So it's like getting custom builds without much more than a factory price attached to it. So they're not all bespoke one-off projects for us, even though it will still be very unique to you. We try to modularize some of that construction so that it's affordable. You get to take advantage of all of the technology that we put into our system at a much more closer to value budget price, I would say. So once we've got your design, we'll send you back a kind of a drawing of your frame with your floor plan laid out so that you have an idea of what it's going to look like. If you like it, we'll go forward. We'll make changes through the process. We'll get started building your foundation. That'll take us a week or two to get that underway while we're finishing up the details on your frame and the rest of your house. Is there a question? Absolutely. It does not. Uh, oh, I'm, I'm almost done with this. I'll just about have it figured out by the time we're finished here. But the question was, can we do radiant heat in floor heating, and does it mess with the spray foam? To answer the question, yes, we can do it. No, it does not mess with the spray foam. We can do it in between 2 sheets of underlayment and route those tubes on another piece of CNC equipment. So it's all separated from your insulated cavity. So even if there is a failure, it won't leak and cause big issues of propylene glycol down in the belly of the trailer or something like that. So we got that dialed and we're happy to help you with it. Any other questions before I move on? Okay. So we got the kit done. You're going to see it drawn. You're going to say, I love it, guys. Please put it together for me. We'll get it down here to the plant floor in about 2 weeks. We'll have this done for you. We'll have this done for you. And then you saw the spray foam outside. We'll put that on. We'll put the underlayment over that. We'll bundle all this together. We'll stack it. We'll strap it down nice and neatly for you. And then you'll decide if you want to come visit us and pick it up, or if you want us to find a shipper to make it its way to you. We can do about 3 frame kits a week right now because of the size of the kits that we're running. They're big kits and they are doing interior and exterior framing as well. So we put up a lot of interior walls, and we have that machine running probably 4 out of 5 days a week to build tiny house kits right now. And the rest of the time, it's heavy steel fabrication for trailers and skids and foundations. And then we have 5 days a week, 3 construction crews building your homes. So we do take those as far as you want them to go. A lot of people say, hey, can you put in the electrical, plumbing, and mechanical systems for me? Just rough it in and I'll put it together when it gets here. We love doing that because that's the stuff that's really expensive to get done out in the field that we're happy to do here at a much, much lower factory in-house price for you. What time is it? All right, I got 10 minutes. I'm going to open this up for one more round of questions. No takers on the last bout, was it? Who wants to watch me crash a forklift? I can do that really quick. um, so we get asked a lot, how long does it take to stand a house, to frame a house? If you take one of our do-it-yourself kits, they take, you can frame that 3 people, 2 days, 2 people, probably 3 or 4 days. To complete novice, no experience, I'd say 2 weekends. If you got a third, that's a great set of hands to have to help you lift the stuff up on the trailer. We break your panels up into, like we said earlier, about 10 or 12 foot chunks so that they're manageable and doesn't take more than about 3 sets of hands to move anything around the job site. So you don't have to go rent equipment. Sounds like there's a question coming here. Natalie's reading. No? Okay. Just a comment. Oh, oh, okay. If you have concerns or questions about spray foam application, please reach out to us. I'm available at Damon, DAMON, at trailermadetrailers.com. You can just funnel those to me. I'll get you to the person that you need to speak with to answer those questions for you. Um, and to that point, if spray foam is a concern, don't use it. It's not for everybody. And we always ask, we don't just press it on people. If they're extremely sensitive to it, we don't recommend you use it. There's rock wool, there's pink fiberglass, there's recycled denim. There's plenty of other stuff we can use instead of spray foam. It's just, that's the most preferred, method of insulation that we could ask for. So about 2 weekends to frame a house for let's say, a husband and wife like Natalie and I will get about half of it framed on the ground, maybe 2 or 3 walls stood up on the first weekend. And then we'll probably have to come back the next weekend, get it all squared up and screwed together. That's all in our instruction booklet. You know exactly step by step. We send you all the fasteners. We tell you where they all go. We send you all your Simpson strong ties. We tell you where they all go. We send you your engineered drawings. We have the engineered stamp to say that you can safely submit that to the city or the county for approval. If Washington L&I is notoriously persnickety about tiny homes being built by DIYers. So we have that information that you can kind of lay in their lap and let them know that you've got all your ducks in a row, and this is going to be a professional level build when you're done with it. So after you're done with the framing, a lot of people choose to rough in plumbing and electrical because you can pull from inside or outside of the wall. So you get all your systems pulled, run to your boxes. I'm trying to recap here really quick. Make sure that you know that you don't have to screw things to steel framing. I've never have, not since day one. We have always used a pneumatic nailing system, and it works fantastic. It's over 80 pounds of pull strength per nail. So you don't want to put one on wrong. Johnny's question is, what kind of certification do we use? We use ANSI 119.2, ANSI 119.5. A lot of people mistakenly call that a NOAA certification, and that's NOAA is just an administrative organization that profits from selling people ANSI certifications. So they have a great DIY program. NOAA does. Pacific Western Associates is who we use. They certify us. NTA for IRC code, IRC modular code, so prefab. But we stick in the ANSI 119 and beyond. Okay, so Johnny's question is, can he get a certified shell from us, or does he have to get it certified? The answer is both. We can start it, and then we can relay baton handoff to you, and then you can pick up from there. PacWest does that, NTA does that, and NOAA does that all with us. They know who we are. They've known us for a very long time. They've seen thousands of our projects, so it's a pretty smooth process with all of those underwriting bodies. We can certify it to the level that you want us to complete it. So for example, Johnny, if you want us to put in the electrical system, we'll do that and get it certified. We can do the load test and the write-off on that. Yeah, high pot test. Yeah, that's called a high pot test. So that makes sure that you don't have any catastrophic failure without having to call an electrician and spend 10 or 15 extra $1,000 unnecessarily to come out and do the job when you want them to. So we can do that in-house in a factory and then send that to you. You can do the end makeup and then do the final test after that. that's just an example of what a like a co certification would look like. Like we'll do the work that we do and then we'll get that certified, but then we can hand off the rest of the project to Johnny. And then you can talk with MTA, PacWest, or NOAA to get it finished from where we stopped. For Paul and everybody, the website is www.trailermadetrailers.com. And we are the Tiny House Experts on social media, YouTube at the Tiny House Experts. Please, please, please subscribe. We're almost to 1,000. And we'll get back to doing our podcasts again as soon as things calm down a little bit here. But it's tiny house season, and we've got dreams to build before we get back to making YouTube content. But I promise I'll do my very, very best if you'll all subscribe. The what? Oh, thank you, Tamara. I appreciate it. I'm glad you guys got to come in and check out and see what we do. I don't want to linger too long here. I got about 4 more minutes, but I can't really think of anything else to say. Oh, at Trailer Made Trailers on Instagram. That's the only thing that we're still at Trailer Made Trailers and Facebook, right? Trailer Made Trailers on Facebook and Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, everything else. We are at the Tiny House Experts. Yeah. All right. Zachary, are you there? Are you still moderating? I think I'm all set, man.
I am. Damon, that was so cool. Thank you so much for taking us along the tour around your factory to really get to see how you guys make it happen. That was awesome.
Yeah, man. I didn't really know what to do. I was like, oh, I'm just going to sit here and talk in front of a microphone again. That's no fun. So thought I'd bring you guys out and see what we do all day. If
Oh
you want to
yeah,
come out and take a tour of the shop in person, we're out in the boonies in beautiful, beautiful Western Colorado. So this is a vacation destination. I strongly encourage it.
yeah, definitely, definitely. We'll have to come check you out in person, and I'm sure that goes the same with everybody else on the call here. So super cool. Yeah, thanks so much for taking us around and like showing us the actual application, how you guys bring it to life, and how you guys actually attach each, the attachments, the materials you use, all the different things along those lines. And as you guys can see, they don't cheap out on the quality of the materials that they're using. You guys are doing high quality materials and also thinking about the small little details like the sill seal that you're using to kind of break up that thermal barrier there. So super cool.
Yeah. Thank you for recognizing that. And like I said, if anybody wants to come see in person the work that we do, or if we can do that work for you, please reach out to us. We appreciate your time. Thanks so
Yeah,
much for
absolutely.
putting up with us this afternoon.
Good stuff. Well, thank you so much for sharing with us all the experience that you have in the industry and whatnot. And everybody, definitely go check out Trailer Made Trailers, especially if you're looking for a trailer or a shell or anything. They will set you off on the right foot if you are, not wanting to tackle the full big project. Because as everybody has been saying along this entire event, that DIY just takes so much time, and getting the shell done and so on can just save you so much time and so much headache, and you can really know that the whole entire foundation is built properly and whatnot. So
Right on, man. Thank you guys so much. Please subscribe and follow, and we will see you out there soon. Come see us in July. Our Colorado Tiny House Festival is the second weekend of July, the 13th and 14th.
okay,
Third weekend, I think. But
okay,
ColoradoTinyHouseFest.com. We're going to try and break 40,000 attendees this year. So come be a part of a record-breaking event.
nice. That's amazing. Yeah, that shows the need for it. So
That's a fact. Thank you so
yeah,
much, guys. Enjoy your weekend
absolutely.
and go Tiny.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much. We'll talk to you later, Damon.
Bye bye.
Bye bye. All right.